And welcome to Drag Race USA. If
If
you've just watched the UK one, you'll notice neither of us have moved, because all I did was hit the button twice. If you watch the UK one after this, you now know how we're going to end. When we hit this pose, it's about to finish. I don't have loads to say about this apart from Anne fucking Hathaway.
Legend.
I have loved her since The Princess Diaries, I think. And, that was a big ask for me at the time, because, someone coming into a Dame Julie Andrews movie and possibly being a bit more my favourite than Dame Julie Andrews, that was a thing. That was a definite thing. But she did. And then...
How were you ever positive?
I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I don't think it was a massive surprise to anybody. But...
Massive? I didn't think it was a surprise.
No, it wasn't at all, really. So, that's fine. So Anne Hathaway, she was just awesome. I just loved her. I loved the fact that she wasn't afraid to go, look, I've got hives on my neck. I'm not perfect.
Yeah.
She wasn't afraid to have wonderful windows behind her. She wasn't afraid to have a ring light very clearly in front of her. You could see it in her eyes. And she just wasn't afraid to completely
fangirl,
be herself and fangirl about the whole thing. Which, whenever you've had the stars in, so Gaga, Christina, Miley, there's still been that barrier. They've come in and Gaga was, I think, the best of all those stuff, because she was but she was still kind of, I am Lady Gaga, you are the fans.
Yes.
I will pass on the wisdom and advice to you. Go be happy, my flock. Whereas you got the idea that Anne sees the queens as above her, 100%, as in I could never do what you do. Which I thought was glorious for a fucking Hollywood A-lister. Absolutely glorious.
I mean, I will actually say, obviously I've liked Anne Hathaway since the time of things like The Princess Diaries. I've probably fallen in love with her around about the time of things like Ocean's 8, where she's kind of
haven't seen
starting. It's an excellent movie. I'm quite happy to sit.
Well, I didn't see the first 7.
That's only the 5th time I've heard that joke.
Also, on top of that, I haven't seen 11, 12, and 13 or whatever the fuck they are.
Well, they come before 8.
Well, I know, and they complain about Star Wars.
Wobbly. Doctor Who.
George Lucas going to go back and dub George Clooney or something.
Probably.
Okay.
Jabba the Hutt, etc. But yeah, so I've loved her when it's become very clear that she's kind of not necessarily living up to this sort of Hollywood stereotype of her as being a white princess type. But I absolutely fell in love with her when, and I can't remember, I think it might have been Amnesty or something like that, but she was basically the keynote speaker for some award fundraiser type thing. And basically, sort of effectively made a lot of, again, very, very on the nose self-deprecating jokes about, great, the last thing you need is, look, it's another rich white woman standing up telling all you lot how to live your lives, etc. She's very, for me, keyed in on the importance of letting marginalised people speak. And ever since that, I've absolutely adored her. So to see her on what is probably, rightly or wrongly, one of the flagship LGBTQ sort of shows out there, absolutely fangirling just cemented her as someone, for me, as someone who is absolutely not up her own arse. Is there to give other people sort of in the room, the voice, and she's there to support them, and it was absolutely fucking glorious. We love you.
And we do. And we love you in Devil Wears Prada, and I love you as Catwoman. You're not quite my favourite Catwoman. That still is Michelle Pfeiffer, though. But you're really, really, really close. Purely for that scene in the cafe where you scream and scream and scream and scream, and as soon as the thugs have walked past you, just get up calmly and walk out. I was like, oh, that's Catwoman. Up until that point, I was a bit like, Oh, there it is. No, you do get this. You're in, girl. Yeah, we should probably talk about the Queens at some point. I don't really want to. I just want to talk about Anne Hathaway because it's fucking glorious. So it was yellow gauge, yellow gauze, yellow glugs.
I think it was just yellow.
It was yellow. Oh, it was yellow. So
what was the? Was this the Rusical?
Probably. Yeah, because didn't we say we felt like we'd already had a Rusical this year already, and then we think we don't know.
Wasn't that the UK one, which was like Rats or something?
Yeah, they did Rats, but I just feel like this lot have done a big singing Rusical-y thing as well.
I don't know.
It's weird.
They are literally all blurring into one.
Yeah, and also the episodes only really last until the next episode. It's almost like you've got a 1 hour video cassette in your head, and you have to tape over last week's episodes with this week's, and you never really remember what went before. That's how it all feels to me right now. I don't know if that's Drag Race fatigue or what. I don't know. Might be worth thinking about Mama Ru. Might be a bit much. I mean, I guess you're still making a fuckload of money. What do I know?
Because I mean, obviously, COVID has completely fucked everything up. Was it originally meant to be that there was going to be more of a gap between UK and US, or were they always?
Well, they still could have done that. They could have sat on a shelf. They haven't got to put them out, have they?
True.
Do you know what I mean? They could have held off.
But I am just thinking, was the original plan that there would have been more of a gap between them?
I would imagine that the original plan would have been that UK sat in parallel with season 1, so ran up to Christmas, and then after Christmas you get USA, rather than them running together. At which point I would have stuck UK on a shelf until USA had finished in September or whatever the fuck, and then you could do seasons 2 and 3 back to back. But again, what do I know? So we had Tina Burner as a taxi. She was a taxi. Yeah, she was a taxi. Olivia Deluxe, I've written Dreamgirls Feathers.
Olivia Deluxe.
Olivia, why should I care? I can't remember. I can vaguely remember Tina's Taxi. Oh, Tina's Taxi. There's a spin-off for you.
It's like Bob's Burgers.
It's like Bob's Burgers, which is funny enough because Archer is now on the screen, which is the same voice as Bob Burgers. It all ties in.
Stop listening to us television.
Oh, and funny enough, what's next? RuPaul's Drag Race. Not sure about that week. But
I quite like it. It's a nice pink.
It's very Katy Perry.
Oh, it is? Yeah. California Girls?
Yeah. It's brilliant. We're talking about something you can't even see.
But I bet you're all picturing it now.
You are all picturing it now. So yeah, I can think of the taxi because it was kind of a bit It was a bit. Again, it was a bit
very New York Taxi.
Yeah. Because that's the yellow taxis, isn't it? Do they have them anywhere else?
Possibly.
They've got like a yellow taxi sort of thing in Orlando, but it's more like a people carrier. Anyway,
isn't that what a taxi is?
Yeah, but as opposed to what you think of as a yellow.
Oh, you mean like a proper 8-10 seater type?
Yeah. Oh, that's what you mean. Yeah, okay. I'm with you now. Yeah, people. Look, it's very late. I've had a shit day. All right, I've had a shit fucking day.
What was your excuse last time?
I'm having a shit year, life, fucking decade.
Give me life.
Oh, I don't know. I don't fucking know anymore.
I can't remember Olivia's outfit.
I cannot. Dreamgirls Feather. That's all I've got. So it must have looked very showgirl.
It was the big, ostrich poofy things on the end of her arms. Yes, it was a very showgirly type outfit. I think if she'd had the big bloody plume, it would not have looked out of place on a chorus line.
I'll take your word. Symone, I've put fur coat and boots.
Yes, it was absolute pimp outfit.
Didn't she have just straps underneath? And it was a bit
and it was a proper pimp fur coat.
Yeah. So the outside was good, but underneath needed a bit of work.
I know. I thought it did work in terms of the look it was going for, but it wasn't possibly as complex as some of the other outfits.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair. Then we have Utica with medieval curtain frock.
Loved.
It was awesome. It was cool as fuck. I love the whole kind of. She'd gone for the medieval headgear thing, but somehow still made it look like woven tits. Fucking class. Absolute class.
I also noticed she was still doing it because it's very much her thing, but she, compared to earlier sort of episodes, she has massively turned down what I can only describe as drag queen gurning that she was doing.
Yeah. The facial expressions and the
type
posing.
stuff. It's a lot calmer. So again, this is someone who's clearly taken some of the feedback from earlier episodes and just thought, like when you're doing runway, tamp it down a bit. Not everything is like an OTT lip sync performance.
Yeah, completely. Then Candy Muse, I've just put layers and flowers.
Yeah, she was basically in the very 70s.
She was a bit like a big blonde tent. That's the way I describe it. And at one point, as she turned to walk away, I just saw my mother.
It was the hair.
I think it was the hair. That's very much my mother's hair when she has long hair. That's just what it does.
It was very 60s/70s hippie.
And at points, I thought it was going for a bit for like, I'm the prettiest armadillo. What's that film called? Midsummer. We're not fans of Midsummer. We are not fans of Midsummer.
If you've watched Midsummer, you'll know it's the bit at the end where she's stumbling.
I'm the prettiest armadillo.
We know that there are lots of people out there, possibly even people watching this, that love Midsummer and think it's the most amazing thing ever.
We think you're pretentious wankers.
I possibly wouldn't go that far, but I just...
No, I wouldn't say that, because my friend Hannah loves it, and I love Hannah to pieces, as she well knows.
But it just wasn't for us.
Wasn't
at
for
all.
Wow. And the worst part was the whole, when he's drugged and made to impregnate the virgin, and all the naked women stood around going, It's just the main guy looked like a colleague of mine, and about a month later I had to sit in a meeting opposite him, and every time I looked at him I just saw sort of flabby middle-aged ladies with overgrown bushes going,
Oh my god, were you having one of your own Midsummer mid-film?
My eyes started twitching. And then at that point I was going, I think I know what your cum face looks like. Oh god. Anyway, so
the worst thing is, I think the only film we hated more that year was Ad Astra.
Oh, I just said Joker. It's a different year.
I don't know.
I think Joker was the same year.
Was it Joker? I don't know when.
Because Midsummer was like coming up 2 years ago, and Joker would have been about 18 months ago, so they'd have been the same year.
Okay. What about Ad Astra? Was that
probably the same year?
Wow, that was a bad year.
Not a great year for films. I mean, better than last year, but you know,
just.
Even though last year did have, can you count Soul, given it went straight to streaming? I guess you can. And Onward, I love Soul and Onward. So yeah, Bye Candy. Oh, maybe not. Not impressed. Not impressed. Then you had Elliot. Another Taxi, but done quite differently.
Yeah. Again, it's kind of interesting because obviously last week Elliot was very sort of Art Deco 30s 40s flapper type. And for me, the style that Elliot went for with the Taxi was again still very in that sort of time zone.
Yeah, but what I do think you get with Elliot is you get a through thought.
Yeah.
So basically, Elliot goes, right, yellow. I mean, this may not be the actual thought process Elliot went through, but yellow. Oh, great. So I'll do a New York Taxi. So I'll do a New York Taxi in the 1930s, like Benny the Cab from Roger Rabbit, or whatever that was. I think you can just follow through rather than just going, well, I'll do it a New York Taxi. So I could make like headlights on the boobs, or I could put like the stripe, have the checker thing as my belt or whatever. I think you just see a bit more of where the thought goes with Elliot. That's what I think when I look at her. I kind of
more of a
see the journey,
thought process rather than just for a better phrase, a drag / comedy.
Here's an idea, and I'll throw the shit at it and see where it sticks.
Yeah.
No, this is actually a full on thought out process. Rosé did The Mask, apparently accused of wearing orange. I kind of saw it towards the end, but I think it was because I'd then been told it was orange. I thought it was orange. Until that point, I had not seen orange.
Because I also think it's a lighting issue because...
Yeah, because they often have that... It's a very purple and blue lighting set they have.
Because especially because at certain points when sort of Rosé was standing there, I mean, bear in mind, this is all the same fabric, but bits of the costume looked orange, bits of the costume looked yellow. And certainly when she first walked on, I didn't see orange at all.
No, and I think when she turned and walked to the back, as she went into a sort of a different lighting state, it very clearly went yellow. I also think there's a certain amount of, you got to bear in mind something like The Mask. You know, that is a feature film where it has been treated. RuPaul's Drag Race isn't in the same way. Plus, it's all very different these days with like HD and yada 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 yada. So it's you're talking a mildly different sort of thing. Even though proper film is actually good enough for HD, complicated. So so basically, your eye adjusts to other things. This is the whole blue and gold dress thing works, right? Is what you're doing is because of the green face, it will affect the colour of the dress. If she took that face off, you would see the dress a different colour, because what you're doing is your eye is doing different things with the different colours, as well as the lighting. So when you do it in The Mask, they treat it. So they go, it is a yellow suit. They make this extra yellow and keep the green on the face. There's a different process behind it, is what I'm saying, to what you actually see. I guess it's the whole same thing of like a rainbow doesn't really exist, it's in your eye. Similar principle.
Right.
Best way to do it. And that's your science lesson for today, kids. Not actual science. Please don't go to school and quote any of this shit. This is just stuff I kind of remember. Maybe I just wrote it on Facebook. Who fucking knows in my head?
Seriously, go to school and quote this shit. And please tell us in the comments what kind of reaction you get.
In fact, send your teacher to me. I'll tell him. Denali was a snake. Oh yeah,
Yes. The
corn
the
snake.
Head, yes, the head piece. Basically, the python from.
It was somebody's python, not Janet Jackson's python. No, that was on The Masked Singer.
Lady Gaga.
Lady Gaga had a python.
Britney.
I think Britney had a python.
Like a yellow.
It wasn't Madonna.
It's never Madonna.
Never Madonna.
Apart from when it's the night of 1,000 Madonnas.
And then it's Madonna.
And then it's the same fucking Madonna.
Nothing Really Matters, Madonna. Which is a good video and a very good song off my favourite Madonna album, However.
I mean, I liked it initially. Then when Denali was doing obviously the various turns,
and you saw the back didn't meet.
Yeah, the back just looked messy to me, and the more I looked at it, the messier it looked.
It was like a really shit Magic Eye picture. The more you looked, the worse it got.
But the judges seemed to love it.
Yeah.
So.
And didn't Denali have a fit about the Rusical and then actually outperformed? Because she was they were the Russian bots, weren't they?
Yes. She wanted to be Foxy, which was Rosé's character.
Yeah.
And I mean, to be fair, Rosé nailed Foxy. It was probably one of the few standout performances of again, musicals is not one I'm generally a fan of. But then I don't really like musicals much generally.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Social media thing's a bit odd as well, I thought.
Yeah.
I thought Elliot's look for TikTok. But again, we were saying like how, given they allegedly cast it in the morning, rehearsed it in the afternoon, performed it the following day. No, they didn't. Clearly they didn't. Not all of that, trust me. So Tina Burner wouldn't have known she was going to be that part in that Rusical, but happened to have a Sally Bowles outfit that just fit perfectly. I'm just saying.
But Denali did absolutely. I mean, to be fair, you'd expect Denali to do well because ice skater background.
Yeah.
So Denali can move. Denali can. What was it? What we used to say when we were younger? Throw shapes on the dance floor.
Yes. Did we ever say that though? I don't think I ever said that. I genuinely don't think I did.
I think I said it ironically a few times.
Plus, I'm fairly certain I was probably in my 30s before that became a phrase.
Yeah, would still be when you were younger.
We're still 20 years ago, isn't it? Yeah. And finally, Gottmik, the bondage crash test dummy.
Loved. Absolutely loved.
Adored. But again, the same as Elliot. And you can apply the same thing to Utica to a degree, but Utica comes up with her own thing, because I think Utica kind of just lives in her own little world, which is great, and more people should.
It's very catchy Sharon Needles in that.
Yeah,
respect,
absolutely, absolutely. But for Gottmik, you could see there was a starting point, a concept, and it being seen through.
Yeah.
And I just think that really makes such a difference on a runway. Rather than oh well, I could wear something yellow and I could just have a yellow wig and put yellow flowers in my hair. You know who I'm talking about. So
Although I would be, cause again, this is one I'm kind of almost sad that Tom isn't here, because Tom is absolutely the kind of person I'd love input on. Because I think, to me,
Tom will comment. I know Tom will comment.
Yes, because given
Tom's awesome.
that Gottmik, is I can't remember if Gottmik's a professional makeup artist, but basically has a lot of experience, sort of makeup wise. It struck me, I think, the past few times that Gottmik's makeup look seems to be broadly the same from outfit to outfit. It doesn't change as much as some of the other queens do. I think
it's that heavy eye and
and it's a very almost sort of Egyptian.
Susie Sue I'd have gone for.
Yeah, but the crush tests. I mean, don't get me wrong. It worked in the concept of the outfit, but it seems to be. It's almost like the makeup look can be the same regardless of the outfit. There doesn't seem to be as much experimentation as, say, someone like Utica seems to do, or even people like Denali or Rosé for that matter. And I don't know. I think maybe I'd just expect more from Gottmik, because that is one of Gottmik's areas of expertise, is the whole sort of makeup and sort of makeup artistry sort of side of things. So yeah. What do you think, Tom? Comment below.